the king of the land is, so are the people. And so what you're seeing going on in the world, let alone this country, you're seeing many Trumps. Now, I'm not saying many as in M-A-N-Y. I'm saying many as in M-I-N-Y. Is that a word, many? Tiny Trumps. And they're mimicking Trump, okay? And their attitudes are like his. They're pompous like him. The bottom line is everyone is prideful. And when you're prideful, you don't have the Most High. Okay? And many, M-I-N-I, I can't spell today. All praise to the Most High. We're going to get into this class. Hope y'all been keeping watching the things going on the news. Just spoke about the military parade going on. I heard about it all week. It doesn't mean anything to me other than a Hitler promotion, you know. But while that's going on in other parts of the world, there's war everywhere. To be honest, the whole world is at war. And the war that I'm speaking of is a spiritual war. Huge spiritual war going on right now. Many people can't see it. Some people can. Some people see it without knowing the Bible. They're looking at the spiritualness of it regarding good and evil. Because when it comes down to it, there is no Democrats. There is no Republicans, right? There is no racism. What it is all good and bad. Everything comes down to good and bad, all right? And so that's what the Most High is all about. And in Nineveh, remember in Nineveh, the people in Nineveh didn't know the difference between the right hand and the left hand, meaning they didn't know what good and bad was until they repented. So that's the whole purpose of getting your house in order with the Most High is repentance. We have to repent through Yahawaah. So we're going to go over this lesson, get your house in order with the Most High. And we're going to start out with Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by YAHAWAH HAMASHAYACH, giving thanks to the Most High, Yahawaah, and the Father by him. So the Most High is the Father, if you misunderstood this scripture, because it says giving thanks to God and the Father by him. All right? So the Most High is the Father. The Father has a host in heaven. They are the Elohim, the Elohim. That's who the host is. That is the word for God. Powers. But the Most High Yahawaah is the power. All right? Yahawashi is the Hamashiach. He is the son of the power, which makes him a power. All right? We have to keep that in mind. And so I want to go to where the Ancient of Days is in heaven, so you can see. And let's go to Daniel chapter 7 and verse 11. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 11. And this makes Colossians 3:17 even more clear. And it reads, I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spoke. Daniel was in the spirit, and he saw this vision. I beheld, even till the beast was slain. Who's the beast? The beast is who we're dwelling with today, which is the European Union, NATO, the beast, which is America, Mystery Babylon. And the false prophet is the Pope. And his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. So we're reading something futuristic right here. This is what's going to happen to who we're living with. Verse 12. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. So these are the people who are going to dwell with the Israelites as servants and handmaids. They're going to be here for a season and a time. This is going backwards. Verse 13. I saw in the night vision, this is Daniel, he saw in this night vision, so while he was probably sleeping, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. Who is that? The Ancient of Days is Yahawaah. That's the Most High. He has no days. He has no years. That's the Most High. He's the Ancient of Days. So what man is this that came to him? I'll read it again. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man. Who calls himself the Son of Man? Yahawashi. All through the Gospels, he says the Son of Man will sit down and eat and drink in the kingdom, right? And behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven. Who are the clouds of heaven? The angels. The angels are the clouds of heaven. And came to the Ancient of Days. And they brought him near before him. And they were giving him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. So who is this talking about? The Most High gave Yahawashi power over the earth. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So Daniel was grieved in his spirit in the midst of his body, and the visions of his head troubled him. See that? So he saw Yahawashi in the spiritual world. He saw the Ancient of Days in the spiritual world, which is Yahweh. All right? Now, this is before the New Testament was even put together. This is before he walked on the earth in the flesh. For people to say that Christ is not the son of the power, they are antichrists. You understand? Because it's written in the Old Testament. We got to get that understanding. Get your house in order. And this is what the world don't understand. So he was written in the Old Testament. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. And let's look at some prophecy. Because Israel is at war with Iran today, which is Persia. And the Israel who are there are not the Israelites, not the same people. All right? Matthew chapter 24, verse 15. All these wars going on, they're fitting prophecy. All right? That's part of what we read in Daniel, the beast that was burned up. Okay, they're fitting prophecy. Because both of those countries are going to be burned up. Maybe not Iran, but the place called Israel is going to be burned up. I believe, this is what I believe, because the scripture says that they're going to take all that land in the area called Jerusalem. And Gaza is one of those places that they want to take. They want to take that land. I believe that's going to be accomplished. They're going to be able to take that land. Right? But remember, the Most High said he's going to come in the midst of the battle. In the midst of the war, the Most High is going to return. Let's go to Matthew 24 and 15. The Gospels. And it reads here, I'll let the Gospels speak. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, so here's Yahawashi speaking about Daniel. And Daniel spoke about Yahawashi. Excuse me. So as you can see that, this is factual. There's two witnesses agreeing. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. So this is a riddle between the both of them. They're both giving you a riddle that you have to figure out. Because they knew this book would land in our enemies' hands, and they didn't want our enemies to figure this out. But you know what? The echelon of the enemies know. They know this is why our Bibles are torn into pieces in various parts. This is why we have 66 books and 14 books, when we know that the Vatican has way more books that was left behind. We know this. Verse 16, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. So Yahawashi is talking about abomination of desolation that's going to come, that Daniel spoke about after Yahawashi leaves. And he's telling the disciples to be alarmed, sound the alarm to all the people to be ready for this particular day. They didn't know what day this was going to occur, but they knew that it was coming soon, right? It says, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. So is that talking about today? We can't flee into the mountains. We've been scattered to all nations. Up in the mountains is where our enemies dwell. They got weapons and military bases all on the mountains. I know y'all seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Who's up in the mountains besides the UFO? The military. So this ain't talking about now. This is talking about during those days. Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains, and that was a path into Africa, okay, to get away from the Romans, to get away from the Greeks. So it says, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. So Yahawashi is giving them a heads up. When did this happen? This happened in 70 AD. There was a philosopher and we had a scholarly scribe named Josephus who wrote about this, who was captured by the Romans, who wrote all the history of Jerusalem and left it behind, and we have them in books today. And so we're going to go to another scholar. His name is Rudolph R. Windsor from Babylon to Timbuktu. All right, so hold off on that for a second. Let's take it to Luke chapter 21, and let's touch on verse 20. Notice how he speaks on this more than once, Yahawashi. Luke chapter 21, verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, talking to the disciples here as well. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is near. So he's talking about the same desolation. He's talking about the same facts. He's talking about the same actions they should have, which was what? Flee into the mountains. Look at verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains. So now he gave them more understanding about why they should flee in the mountains, and he gave them more understanding about who the abomination of desolation is. All right? Which are the Romans, because the Romans were living during that time governing Jerusalem. And they couldn't speak about the Romans while they were writing stuff, because what would the Romans do? Snatch it out and burn it. So they had to speak about prophetic things without mentioning names. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. So if you go out into another country, do not come back. If you were in Joppa or in Spain and you wanted to go to Jerusalem because you knew the feast day was coming up, but this was going on, you better not go to Jerusalem. Just like now, this is not the time to go to Jerusalem to take a tour, even if a feast day came up. But notice, Luke 21 and 22, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Let's read down to 24. For woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land and wrath upon this people. What people? Us. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. Now this prophecy just kept rippling and rippling and rippling through time. Through time, it just kept rippling us into captivity throughout all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So the Gentiles are fulfilling prophecy right now. This lets you know that we're not in Jerusalem, not even near the cities of Jerusalem today. This lets you know right here, the majority of us are scattered to the four corners of the earth. Let's go to Babylon to Timbuktu, the book that I had mentioned. It says, in the year 60, this is Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor. You can purchase this book on Amazon. It's about 150 pages, very easy read if you like to read it, but it talks about the history of the Jews. Right? It says, and most of the Jews that it's speaking about are those of various shades of brown. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. So now we know who Yahawashi was talking about, the abomination of desolation. He was talking about who? The Roman armies. In 70 AD, General Vespasian, he gives names, and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. This is why Yahawashi said, flee into the mountains and don't come back. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled where? Into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. Now, what tribes were living in Jerusalem during that time? There were 3 tribes: Judah, Benjamin, and the half tribe of Levi. I say half tribe because the other half tribe was with the 10 tribes who had already left. Okay, so this is Judah, Benjamin, and the half tribe of Levi, which makes up 3 tribes. And the Most High shall scatter thee among all people. He's given an insert of Deuteronomy 28:64. And the Most High shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So he's telling us this prophecy came from another prophecy. So what Yahawashi was speaking about was a prophecy that happened during Moses' time that was spoken of that didn't happen yet until now. So you're speaking about roughly how many years? 2,000 years before this prophecy even took place. This prophecy and all the residue of the prophecies contained in Deuteronomy 28:15-68, which are the curses, befell the black Jews after they disobeyed the laws of the Most High. Many nations transported the Jews into slavery, and the sons of Israel transmigrated to every continent. This is why the slave ships were prominent. The Jewish philosopher Philo, about 40 BC and 40 AD, the times that he lived, who lived in Alexandria, Egypt, said that 1 million Jews resided in Libya and Egypt. He's telling you where they went. From the Katabashmos to the borders of Ethiopia. Now, Ethiopia covered the whole, from the top of Mesopotamia all the way down to Madagascar. Professor A.H. Godby, now this man is tough, Professor A.H. Godby. He has a book called The Israelites a Myth. That book is over $15,000. Professor A.H. Godby says that the Philo leaves us doubtful about which boundaries of Ethiopia he meant. I think that Philo meant the western and southern boundaries of Ethiopia, because the prophet Zephaniah mentioned from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. So they're trying to pinpoint things for you to show you where the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi went to. Africa and parts of India. Let's go to the next insert I sent, and let's start the highlighted version. So the next insert I sent you starts out with Jews important in the yellow highlights. All right, now I'm going to read it. And this is all going back to the verses that we just went over, Matthew chapter 24 and Luke chapter 21. The Jews imported into the western part of Africa a superior material. Now it's showing you that they went into the western hemisphere of Africa. Educational and moral culture soon after 300 AD. And this cultural advancement was not duplicated or exceeded until the ascendancy of the Muhammad leader Mansa Khan Musa of Mali in 1312 AD. So we all know who he was. He was a very popular guy, very rich man. He had a lot of slaves. He was Muslim. He put a lot of the Israelites who were in West Africa in captivity under the Arab rule. In the 3rd and 4th centuries AD, the Africans on the west coast did not possess the cultural superiority of the Africans on the north and east coast. So we brought all our understanding, and it's about to show you right here. This is in West Africa. It says the black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes, telling you that the Negroes who went into Africa were different from the Hamitic tribes, Who are the Hamitic tribes? The Egyptians, the Libyans, the Ethiopians, Put, right? So those four. So the black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes. They carried their culture, history, laws, and written records with them. This assured them a constant precedent for the development of a higher social organization. They were much smarter. They had dams in West Africa. They had all types of libraries in West Africa. After they got there, they had, it's going to tell us, let me read it. Because of the stability of the black Jewish culture, the Jews were not absorbed into the autonomous population. In fact, the Jews absorbed some of the native tribes. The Jews made use of every opportunity. They were an industrious and skillful people. In the Jewish Canaan states were found kings, princes, governors, generals, secretaries, treasurers, revenue agents, judges, architects, engineers, doctors, historians, language interpreters, mathematicians, jewelers, sculptors, masons, carpenters. Masons are not talking about the club masons. This is dealing with concrete and bricks and mortar. Carpenters, painters of art, goldsmiths, leather workers, potters, armorers, saddlers, blacksmiths, agriculturalists, and the last one it says, and etc. All right, so that right there should tell you this is in line with what we just read in those two books of the gospel. So that, like I said, that was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Let's go back to Luke. And let's go to Luke chapter 21, verse 25. And it reads, and there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Well, just like that verse you read in Deuteronomy spanned the period of 2,000 years, this verse is spanning the 2,000-year mark since the time that we were exited out of Jerusalem. It's the same thing. So when we saw Rome ruling, this stuff was happening. When we saw Arabia ruling, this stuff was happening. When the European countries putting us in dire straits were going on, even today, this stuff is still happening. The storms and all that stuff, fallen stars. We're seeing all this stuff, right? The people in distress. Luke 21, verse 26, it says, men's hearts failing them for fear. We're seeing that today. And for looking after those things which are coming on earth. Can you imagine those people over in Gaza? The fear in their hearts? And now Netanyahu's talking about cutting off their water again, not letting food get in there. And can you imagine the distress on them? They've already seen many of their family members killed already. Can you imagine the distress? Men's hearts failing them for fear and looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Notice, they're just killing them. Just killing them outright. You know? Luke 21, I mean, at least with us and the indigenous Indians, they were killing us too, but they were trying to put us in slavery. They were greedy. They saw money. They saw a way to make money and make businesses all over the earth through us. And even to this day, they're still doing that. You look at our brothers being ran back into Mexico. What do you think is going to happen in this place? The economy is going to start falling. You know, ain't going to be nobody to pick strawberries and paint houses and build houses. That stuff is going to affect everything. So the powers are being shaken right now. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. They're being shaken right now as we speak. So we spoke about Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. When did we speak about the 10 tribes? We haven't spoke about them. They got dispersed too. They got dispersed in 722 BC, 800 years before Judah, Benjamin, and Levi got dispersed. 800 years before. That is called the Northern Kingdom. Ephraim, Manasseh, Issachar, Naphtali, Asher, Reuben, Simeon, Gad, Zebulun. Those are the tribes that were already dispersed. Some of them were with Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, specks of them. throughout Africa. But the majority of them that had the mind to leave, they all left together. All right? And we can see that in the book of 2 Kings. Let's go to 2 Kings, chapter 17, verse 6. Just giving you the history of how all this stuff happened. And you can't forget about it because, like I said, it spans over years. We only been here how long? We ain't even reached 100 years old yet. Most of us won't make it to 100. But this spanned over a period of years. 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 6. 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 6, and it says, in the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria, that's the northern kingdom, and carried Israel away into Assyria, and placed them in Halah and in the harbor by the river of Gazan, and in the city of the Medes. So right there it's telling you where did they go. They went right amongst Japheth. The Medes are Japheth. All right? So the mixture, you can see the mixture coming in right now. The Assyrians, the Medes. But so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Most High their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods. So this is what happened during this time. And let's move forward and let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 13. 2 Ezra chapter 13. Now this is the rest of it. Now many people like to disregard this chapter because they don't want to believe that the 10 tribes are part of the 12 tribes, but it's written right in the Apocrypha. 2 Ezra chapter 13, verse 39. And it reads, and whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hoshea the king, who Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. So this is after they were released. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. That's not Africa. All right? People dwelt in Africa. As we have read in Babylon and Timbuktu, the Hamitic races were living in Africa. Verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. That's below South Africa. What do they call that? Cape Horn? I forget what they call this bottom part of Africa. But down there, the waters are really rough going around that point of South Africa. So the Most High held still those waters so they could pass over. For though that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsereth. That was America's name, Arsereth, a place where man never dwelt, Arsereth. Then dwelt they there unto the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come up, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore stayest thou the multitude with peace. But those that be left behind of my people are they that are found within my borders. Now, so who are those people who were left behind? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. They were left in Israel. But the 10 tribes left. Look at verse 49. Now when he destroyeth the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain. So he's going to defend all of us that remain, right? And then shall he show them great wonders, talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. Then said I, O power that bearest rule, show me this. Wherefore have I seen the man coming up from the midst of the sea? Who is this man coming from the midst of the sea? Yahawashi. And he said unto me, like as thou canst neither seek out nor know the things that are in the deep of the sea, even so can no man upon earth see my son, or those that be with him, but in the daytime. So this is Yahawashi. He's coming and he is the light of the world. The only time you see him is if you follow the light, which is the daytime. So this is showing you the 10 tribes who left the land of the heathen and came into the Americas. Matthew chapter 24, verse 21. Matthew 24, verse 21. It reads, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake," who are the elect? Israelites, those who believe and follow the spirit of Yahawashi. "But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." So he's telling us that these days are going to be shortened. How are they going to be shortened? Things are going to come to pass more quickly. Right? So he told us that these days are devastating days, they're chaotic days. When the Most High says in Malachi, "They shall build, but I will throw down," or "I will destroy," that's in everything these people do.
Back in the Texas Gulf Coast, a SpaceX Starship exploded into this massive fireball, preparing for a test flight. The aerospace company said the rocket experienced a, quote, "major anomaly." As of now, SpaceX says there are no hazards to residents and communities surrounding the site. The ship was expected to launch around the end of the month for its 9th test flight. Let's bring in CBS News space consultant Bill Harwood for more on the explosion. Bill, thank you for joining us today. What was SpaceX testing for this ship before it exploded?
They were getting ready to test fire one or more engines of the Starship upper stage. You have to remember the rocket we're talking about has a first stage called the Super Heavy, and then the Starship, which is the one that exploded, is the upper stage. They were going to do a test fire of those engines. They'd put this on top of the Super Heavy and then launch it around the end of the month. It'll be the 10th test flight, not the 9th. The 9th, as you recall, the Starship exploded in flight, or rather broke up in the atmosphere on that test flight. 3 failures in a row, and now this test failure down in Texas.
Wow, so this was the 10th one. Thank you for that correction. This was one of the company's massive cargo starships. So having only had, as we know, 10 tests so far with these kinds of ships, 5 of which also ended in explosions, I believe it is 5. How major of a setback is this for SpaceX, would you say?
Well, it's hard to say right now. It's going to depend on what triggered the failure. Clearly, it's going to take some time to sort through this, and they'll have to get another vehicle ready to fly on the 10th test flight. So it's a little too soon to say that, although there's no question it's a setback.
And everything the Gentiles do, whatever they build, the Most High is going to make it chaotic. If they want a democracy system, he's going to make that democratic system chaotic. The Most High is going to destroy it. If they want to synchronize their Republican system, the Most High will throw it down. Everything they do, the money system, it's being hacked. The banks are being hacked. He's making it worse, So we have to synchronize our IDs and our identifications. He's making it worse. This is all part of prophecy. Everything they do, he's going to make it worse. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12 and 12. Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. And it reads, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." See that? For the elect's sake, the days shall be shortened. But Satan knows that his days are short too, for the elect's sake. That's why he's so mad. Everything he do, he's failing. And so he's going to make it worse for us. And when he says rejoice, he's not talking about us, the Israelites. He's talking about these heathens that rejoice in their inventions. He wants them to rejoice during these short days. He's speaking of the wicked here. All right, so we have to understand that too. He's talking in prophecies. "And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child." Who is that woman? Let's find out who this woman is. The woman are the Israelites. Let's go to Jeremiah. Let me show you who the woman is real quick. Let's go to Jeremiah 6, verse 2. Jeremiah 6 and verse 2. It says, I have likened the daughter of Zion, who is Zion, his people, to a comely and delicate woman. See that? So he's speaking in parables. So the woman is talking about the Israelites. Let's go back to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew 24. And let's start at verse 22. And let's read down to 24. It says, and except those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. For those who believe, the Most High is going to make these days run out. You're going to get quicker and quicker. Verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall rise false Christs, false Christians, and false prophets. We see that today on the TVN channel. We see this on BET channel. We see this on Sunday morning when you turn on the TV. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. How are they deceiving you? Telling you don't keep the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments? Telling you that Yahawashi is not black? That the Israelites are not black? That the angels are not black? When I say black, I'm talking about dark brown to the lightest brown you can think of. This is what it's talking about. Matthew 24 and 25. Behold, I have told you before, wherefore if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. Who goes around like that? Isn't that the Pope? Doesn't he move like this? He go to different places and everyone is advertising where he is and where you should go to praise him. This is what we have to be aware of. He's the only one that moves like that, right? Let's look at Isaiah 45. Isaiah 45 and verse 17. And it reads, but Israel shall be saved in the Most High with an everlasting salvation. He shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. So he's going to save the Israelites. You see that? And he's telling us not to be ashamed, not to be confounded. They're not going to deceive us. Verse 18, for thus saith the Most High that created the heavens, the Most High himself that formed the earth and made it. He hath established it. He created it, not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am the Most High, and there is none else. I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth. I said not unto the seed of Jacob, talking about Jacob again, seek ye me in vain, right? All these vain ways of serving him through Islam and, Roman Catholic Church and Buddhism. Everybody's trying to get to him, but they're going a different path, a different road. They're all seeking him in vain, right? I, the Most High, speak righteousness. I declare things that are right. So follow the Father, follow the Most High, follow Yahawashi back to the Father the right way. The elect will not be fooled if they worship the Father in righteousness. All right. Let's talk about Yahawashi a little bit. Let's go to Gospel of John, chapter 3, because many people use this chapter to fool people. But let's read Gospel of John, chapter 3. And let's read from 1 to verse 7. And notice Yahawashi is talking to a Pharisee, and this Pharisee came at nighttime. He's ashamed. He didn't want to be seen by the other Pharisees. He didn't want to be seen by the other Sadducees, let alone other Israelites in the daytime. So he came at night. It says there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. Notice that, a ruler of the Jews. He didn't want to be seen. The same came to Yahawashi by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from the Most High, for no man can do these miracles that thou doest, except the Most High be with him. Yahawashi answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except the man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of the Most High. Yahawashi ain't scared of this man. This man came to seek him, but Yahawashi ain't nervous or nothing about this man. Nicodemus saith unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Verse 5, Yahawashi answered, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit. We know what that means. It means to be baptized through the Spirit, right, by the word of the Most High. He cannot enter into the kingdom of the Most High. That which is, and what is the Spirit? Romans 7 and 12 is what it is. We ain't got to go there, but the Spirit is following the law. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. And that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Does flesh matter? It matters, but you got to have the Spirit. The Spirit, that's the kicker. You have the Spirit, then we go by the flesh, right? Then we know who we are based on the Spirit. Marvel not that I said unto you, ye must be born again. Because we know that Yahawashi is talking to an Israelite, right? All Israelites are not going to. We got some brothers that are into Egyptology. We got sisters. I was watching sister the other day. She was talking about she was into something from the Yoruba tribe. You know, talking about the strength of the animals, and you know, our people are messed up. That's not by the Spirit. That's by the flesh.
This was paying homage to the Yoruba culture and the women who paid honors to a deity. They wore white because it represented transformation and spirituality. I think that's where I am right now because I'm at peace. I fought for the peace that I found now. I feel like I'm in a transformation from the old me to a new me. I can't explain it. It's just a overwhelmingly feeling of peace.
So Taji P, she's worshiping these fake or false other gods and goddesses. And this is one of the reasons why we fell in Africa, worshiping all these false religions. The Yoruba gods and their goddesses, it's a religion that's been around a long time, especially in Nigeria, West Africa. This stuff was worshipped by millions in Africa. But it's like a pantheon. It includes a vast array of gods and goddesses. Each god and goddesses had their own unique characteristics and powers. You know, you had like the god of fertility, you had the god of the water, the god of iron, you know, the goddess of love and beauty. You know, this is something that drives us right down the path that Abraham's family fell off of. This drives us right down the path that our patriarch Abraham's father and his uncles and nephews fell into. They started worshiping other gods, pagan gods, and this is a form of idolatry. Most of our people in Hollywood don't realize who they are. When they realize, they will stop worshiping these false gods and goddesses and come back to the true power, which is YAHAWAH HAMASHAYACH. All it is confusion. Much, much confusion.
So we got to be by the Spirit. Let's drop down to verse 11, and he's going to tell us how prominent this man Nicodemus is. Verse 10. Yahawashi answered and said unto him, Art thou a master of Israel? A master, meaning he's mastered all the laws. He's mastered the people of Israel. He called him a master of Israel. And that he knoweth not these things. He don't know anything about the Spirit. See that? So I'm mentioning the Spirit because you got to have the Spirit in order to understand the prophecies. And if you understand the prophecies, you know what to be aware of when it starts to manifest before you. Let's go to Romans chapter 3. Why was he a master of Israel? Go to Romans chapter 3. Romans chapter 3, verse 1. What advantage then hath the Jew? Or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of the Most High. So this is why he's considered a master of Israel. He had the oracles of the Most High. All right, what are the oracles of the Most High? This was given to Moses, the law, statutes, and commandments. He had the history of Israel. Being a Pharisee, he had all the documents of Israel. He had the genealogies of Israel. He had the birthrights of Israel. He had the death certificates of Israel. He had the oracles. That's why he was a master. He knew everything. You couldn't tell this man nothing. Verse 3, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? He believed, but did he truly believe? You know, it's like when you go to work. You know all the stuff you're supposed to do at work. You know the terminology. You know, you have the experience, so you're able to do things quicker than other people who just started, right? So do you believe? No, you understand what you're doing at work. You believe all the things that you've learned, but do you truly believe in the spirit of your job? Most people hate their jobs. You know what I'm saying? This is what the Most High is saying. Do you believe in him? Even though you know all this stuff, do you still believe? Do you have the spirit? Do you operate by the spirit? Do you love the Most High? That's what it's about. And that's what the oracles tell us. If we look at Joshua 24, let's go to Joshua in the Old Testament, Joshua chapter 24. Joshua 24, verse 15. And look at Joshua. And Joshua, if you know the story of Joshua, Joshua didn't want to speak eloquently. He didn't want that gift. He didn't care about making him the top man. He didn't care about that. But listen to what Joshua cared about. Joshua 24 and 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Most High, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Most High. See that? So this is what Joshua believed. He believed in the Most High wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. He loved the Most High. Let's go to Exodus chapter 3. He was obedient without discussion. Exodus chapter 3, verse 6. Moreover, he said, I am the power of thy father, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, the power of Jacob. This is who we serve. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the Most High. The Most High ain't no joke. And the Most High said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrow. So he knows everything we're going through. And I've come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and we were in captivity in Egypt, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, because they tried to take our land, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now, don't be confused with those people over there. Most people, this is how they sell them. Like, hey, we didn't finish the job. We got to continue to take our land over in Israel. And the whole world is fooled on this. The so-called Jewish people who are not Israelites, who are not the true Jews, who are blaspheming the Most High's name, are claiming that they got to finish this job. They got to go into Israel and wipe all the Canaanites out, wipe all the Hittites out, Amorites, Perizzites. The Romans already did it. It's already been wiped out. So the heathens, the Gentiles, have to fulfill that prophecy. Once they fulfill the prophecy of taking over the land, then the Most High is going to show up and destroy them. Right? So as we read this in Exodus chapter 3, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is who we serve. Let's go to Matthew chapter 1. So if we're talking about the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, why is a genealogy of Yahawashi in Matthew chapter 1? Because, you know, the Roman church, they believe in the Immaculate Conception, that Christ didn't have a lineage from his father's side. They believe that he had a lineage from his mother's side, which doesn't even make sense when the book opens up with Matthew chapter 1, the book of the generations of Yahawashi HAMASHAYACH. Gene comes from the word seed. And this goes all the way back into Genesis chapter 1, all the way to chapter 6 when it talks about the seeds. The book of generation of Yahawashi HAMASHAYACH, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judas and his brethren. So he came out of the brother of the 12 tribes. His name, he was the fourth oldest. His name was Judas. And Judah, or Judas, begot Phares and Sarah and Tamar. So he's going to give you the whole genealogy of Yahawashi. Let's read down to 6. And Phares begot Aram, and Ezron begot Aram, was going through the fathers, and Aram begot Abnadab, Abnadab begot Nasan, and Nasan begot Salmon, and Salmon begot Boaz of Rahab, and Boaz begot Obed of Ruth, and Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David the king, and David the king begot Solomon of her that had been the wife of Uriah. So here's King David, and it's showing you King David came out of the line of what? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all the way down. Now let's drop down to verse 20. Matthew chapter 1, verse 20. But while he thought on these things, behold, we skipped over a lot of generations to get to Yahawashi. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Most High appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, that's Yahawashi's father, thou son of David. Look at that. David. And we just read about that in verse 6. Fear not to take unto you Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahawashi, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now you know it's talking about the 12 tribes of Israel, because we spanned over this whole chapter, and it spoke of the patriarchs of Yahawashi, just like it did in Exodus. We have to believe that he came of the flesh, because it says it's the letter of John chapter 2. It says he that doesn't believe that he came in the flesh is considered what? An antichrist. He was born of the flesh. John 1 and 29. Let's go to that. John chapter 1, verse 29. Now, these are records proving that Yahawashi walked the earth in the Gospel of John. We just left the Gospel of Matthew, but this is the Gospel of John. He recorded what he saw. And he reads, and these men were professionals. You know, they had, Luke was a doctor, he was a physician. John, you know, he was a fisherman. Peter was a fisherman. You got to look at what these men did for a living. The next day, John seeth Yahawashi coming unto him. This John is talking about John the Baptist. The next day, John seeth Yahawashi coming unto him, saith, Behold, the Lamb of the Most High, which taketh away the sin of the world. This is he of whom I said, after he cometh a man which is preferred being before me, for he was before me. And I knew him not, but that he should be made manifest to Israel. Therefore am I come baptizing with water. He knew that this was the one that Daniel spoke of. And John, what did he do? He bare record. See that? There's a record on this. And John bare record, saying, I saw the Spirit descending from heaven like a dove, and it abode upon him. And I knew him not, but he that sent me to baptize with water, the same said unto me, Upon whom thou shalt see the Spirit descending and remaining on him, the same is he which baptized with the Holy Spirit. And I saw and bear record that this is the Son of Yahawaah. See that? So Yahawashi came after all those captivities. There's captivities in the midst of this. This was the destroying of Israel up until the Romans. And now up until the 10-headed dragon, which is the European nation. Here's one more witness. John 1:45. Philip findeth Nathanael, and saith unto him, We have found him of whom Moses in the law and the prophets did write, Yahawashi of Nazareth, the son of who? Mary? The son of Joseph. See that? The son of Joseph. He bear record that this was the son of Joseph, who came from David, who came from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So you can see that he did exist, and he came for the children of Israel. That was his whole purpose. Everyone underground, because we call that underground when it's in the hood, right? Everyone underground knew who Yahawashi was. They knew who his father was. They knew who his mother was. They knew who his brothers and sisters was. Everyone underground knew this and published it, but everyone who had clout did not publish it. Go to the Gospel of John, chapter 8. Gospel of John, chapter 8, and verse 32. So when Yahawashi was here, this is what he taught us. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. What is the truth? The history. What is the truth? Psalms 119, 142, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and the law is the truth. He came and taught us the law. He came and taught us salvation, repentance through him. That's what he brought us. Let's go back to Daniel. Let's look at him talk about Yahawashi one more time. Daniel chapter 9. And Daniel's also going to talk about when the Romans came and the Greeks. Daniel chapter 9, verse 11. Daniel chapter 9, verse 11. And this is what Daniel saw in the spirit. He said, Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey what? Thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, Deuteronomy 28. And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him. So the law of Moses is still being activated, even during the times of Daniel. And he hath confirmed his words, which he spoke against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. This is what Yahawashi talked about. Under the whole heaven, Jerusalem was destroyed. See that? That's how we ended up in America. That's why we're here today, because of Jerusalem being destroyed. Let's go to Daniel. Look, even the tribes, he warned the 10 tribes not to even come back. He warned them, you're outside Jerusalem, do not come back. Go to Daniel chapter 11. Daniel chapter 11, verse 31. Now let's read down to 35. So now what we're about to see is them personally in the Bible tell you who these people are that are the desolation of abomination. Daniel chapter 11, verse 31. And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength. What's the sanctuary? The house of King David, the temple. And shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. There it is again, that word, abomination that maketh desolate. They were using pig's head and putting them up on the temple. Like we got Kentucky Fried Chicken with a big bucket on top of it. They were putting a giant pig head on top of the temple. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people, these are the people that they weren't all the way in belief of the scriptures. Like Yahawashi was talking to Nicodemus. He told him, you got to be by the spirit, not the flesh. So if you're by the flesh, you'll easily be removed from what you believe in. And these, what Daniel's talking about here, are those who were in the truth, that were masters of Israel, that loved the flatteries of the other nations that came in. They were offering them bribes. They were offering them houses, slaves. They were offering them clout in the country of Rome. It says, and such as do wickedly against the covenant shall be corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their power shall be strong and do exploits. They'll fight against that. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. And that's our job, to teach people about the truth. Yet they shall fall by the sword and by flame, by captivity, and by spoil many days. That many days, one day is 1,000 years with the Most High. So it's been almost 3,000 years. We're pushing up on 3,000 years now since the days of Daniel. But right there on the mark. Verse 34. Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help. But many shall plead to them with flatteries. How do we get the little help? By repentance. We can repent without going to a temple. That's the little help Yahawashi gave us. We're able to repent. And don't fall to flatteries. Bribes. Daniel chapter 11, verse 35. How do your job bribe you? They give you raises, right? That's what keeps you there. I got to get that extra percentage. If I stay another year, then I have a little bit more. Most people stay on their jobs longer because of the little raises that's being chunked out. Flatteries. And that's what we do. Daniel chapter 11, verse 35. And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. So they're going to be constantly afflicting us with flatteries and bribes up until the last day. So be mindful of what we're doing today. This stuff is going on. Let's go to the book of 1 Maccabees. And this is just a repeat, because the Romans copied somebody else. They copied the Greeks. And watch the Most High use the Greeks to tell you who the abomination of desolation is. You got to know this, because many people in the churches don't even know who this is. You could ask anyone in the church, who is the abomination of desolation? They won't know. For one, it's the Pope. He's standing in that seat right now. He's claiming to be the Most High right now. That's the abomination. Esau is the abomination. And in the book of Maccabees, he's going to tell you. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 in the Apocrypha, verse 53. And drove the Israelites into secret places. This is the Greeks. They drove us into secret places. What are secret places? The mountains. Even wheresoever they could flee for succor. Now the 15th day of the month of Caslu, that's during the time of November to December that we know of, in the 145th year, they set up the what? The abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of the houses and in the streets. Doesn't the Pope burn incense? I guarantee you it's not frankincense and myrrh in them temples, in them Catholic churches. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, what did they do with our law? They ripped it in pieces. This is why they said the law is done away with. Started with the Greeks. And when they had rent or ripped in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. See that? They don't want us to know the truth, y'all. I'm telling y'all. And this is what they're going to try to do again. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So the Romans copied this during the days of Constantinople or Constantine during 325 to 327 when they had the Council of Nicaea. This happened then. And it's still happening today as we speak. The Protestants, they believe it, as well as the Muslims, they believe it. They believe also in the, I don't know if y'all know, but even the Muslims believe in the Immaculate Conception, that Mary was a virgin and didn't have sex with Joseph to have the baby. Even they believe it. This was created in 1858, the Immaculate Conception. And all these churches push that. And that denies the whole chapter of Matthew chapter 1 that we just read. Completely, it denies it, blasphemes that whole chapter, that he came from his father's side, the patriarchs of Abraham through Jacob, through David, all the way to Joseph. It just blasphemes it, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. We're almost done. Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. It reads, "For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and show great signs and wonders." I mean, I've seen some pastors flying through their church congregation on some wires, like they're Hamashiach. I mean, you got Benny Hinn claiming he's healing people. You got all types of these pastors doing crazy stuff. In so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you this before. Wherefore they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. When we read that, I want to show you in Revelation 17:1, because if you don't know where we dwell today and who this place is, this is the great whore. The Most High calls Mystery Babylon a whore. Revelation 17, verse 1. And the Yahawashi whore, if you notice on the waters, what goes to and fro? The traffic, the products. It says, "And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto you the judgment of the great whore." See, I didn't make this up. The Most High calls Mystery Babylon the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. That's why you see the Statue of Liberty over there. She represents the great whore. Revelation 17:2. "With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication." See that? How are they committing fornication? They're going along with their policies, so they don't get embargoes placed on them. "And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk," right? The drunkenness means they fell in love. They're like following lies. "Been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit in the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns," which represents the European Union. "And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand." Statue of Liberty has a golden torch in her hand, "full of abominations and filthiness of her fornications. And upon her head and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great." See, this is the daughter of Babylon. Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of what? Harlots. And you notice all the countries try to imitate who? The United States. China tries to imitate it. You know, you look at the music that goes out, they all try to imitate the music. The technology, they try to imitate it and pass it. The mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. When you read who the abomination was in Maccabees and Daniels, and then Yahawashi spoke about it. They deny who the Most High is. They deny who we are, 12 tribes of Israel. See that? Let's read verse 6. "And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahawashi." See that? The blood of the followers of Yahawashi. We believe in the true Yahawashi. Who are the saints? The saints are the Israelites. "And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration." So he was surprised how we were so drowned in the Mystery Babylon. All right? This is John the Revelator saw this. Let's drop down to 16. Let me show you what's going on right now. "And the 10 horns," this is the European Union, the 10 horns, "which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." That's what they're doing now. France is talking bad about the U.S. Britain talking bad about the U.S. All these countries over there, they don't care too much for the U.S. "And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." They're going to turn all their nuclear weapons on this country when they get totally tired of her. "For the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will." So when they do that, that's the spirit of the Most High when they do that. So when you see countries or presidents start talking bad about the presidents here, that's the start of it. You're ready. For the Most High put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. See that? And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So this is that woman. Pay close attention to what's going on today. Notice how strategic the U.S. is. The Most High is moving the U.S. that way. That mystery Babylon. And he's moving the kings of Europe the way that they're going. Let's go back to, let's go to Revelation chapter 7. And let me show you that those who call themselves Christians ain't going to make it. Let me show you what he remembers. Revelation 7, verse 1. Revelation 7, verse 1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth. These are the militaries, the winds of the earth. And you can see who these winds are in the book of 2nd Ezra 13, talks about the winds. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 13. This will show you who these winds are. 2nd Ezra 13, verse 5. And it reads, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the 4 winds of the heaven. You see that? To subdue the man that came out of the sea. So who's the man that's coming out of the sea? Yahawashi. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 7. So now you know who the 4 winds of the earth are. They're militaries, men. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth. So the angels are preventing these militaries from fighting, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So these militaries can't hurt the earth until what? It's going to show us. Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power, Yahawaah, in their foreheads. What is he going to seal us with? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 8. Let's find out what he's going to seal us with. Isaiah chapter 8. So you know. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 16. And it reads, bind up the testimony. Testimony of what? All the prophets speaking about Yahawashi. Bind up the testimony. Seal the law among my disciples. So what is he going to seal on us? The law. Those who follow the law. Drop down to verse 20. To the law and to the testimony, that they speak not according to this word, is because there is no light in them. Christianity don't have it. Seventh-day Adventists don't have it. Jehovah's Witnesses don't have it. The Muslims don't have it. The Protestants don't have it. The Quakers don't have it. None of them speak about the laws of the Most High. See that? They may speak about the testimony, but they don't speak about the law. Now, that's what he said, not what I said. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 7 and verse 3. And it reads, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Then he tells you all the tribes as you go down. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Naphtali, Zebulun, all the way down. So we have to understand who he's coming for. All right, let's go back to Matthew. We're going to end with Matthew 25. Excuse me. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 31. Matthew 25 and verse 31. And it reads, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory. Who's the Son of Man? The one coming from the sea. The one that Daniel spoke of, remember? Matthew 25, verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him. In the book of Daniel, those holy angels were called clouds. Remember? He went to the Ancient of Days, and he went with the clouds. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. Remember, the Most High gave him a throne and gave him glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Who are the goats? The heathens. He's going to set them on the left. Verse 34, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. So he's going to take the 12 tribes of Israel, put us on his right hand, those that believe in him, and he's going to put us in our land, a large land. Let's get one more verse, Deuteronomy 32 and 8. Let's end with this, because he's going to do the same thing he did from the beginning. Deuteronomy chapter 32. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So this is what he's going to do again. For the Most High's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So we are his portion. So all other nations, they're not going to get their portion until we get our portion. You understand? And some nations are not going to get anything. And so with that, I'm going to end this class. I hope you got some understanding from this class. Get your house in order with the Most High Yahweh. And you need to know this stuff in order to keep going forward. I pray that this was a blessing to you and beneficial. Are there any questions, statements, or comments?
I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.